We're back with chapter 27. This is going to be a little character vignette, and I love to throw these in. I love to throw in background from people's past. Let me know in the comments what you think about these little vignettes. I tend to sprinkle them in, probably a little bit more with my newer novels, but let me know what you think. Chapter 27, done. He had been a star in the Rangers, quickly rising through the enlisted ranks. Shortly after re-enlisting, his father had been diagnosed with cancer. Todd Dunn, now separated from his parents by a 4-hour plane ride, did what he could to help his father. Because the family had little money and poor health insurance, the hospital bills continued to pile up. Dunn got a second job as a bouncer at one of the strip clubs outside Fort Bragg to make some extra money to send home. He was quickly promoted to head of security for his cold calculation and eerie calm during altercations. It didn't hurt that he could do the books better than strip club owner himself. The new position allowed Dunn to make more money by getting a portion of the bartender and stripper tips. Todd, I bet you love that. One night on the job, a group of rowdy townies decided to make trouble with some drunken soldiers. The soldiers, obviously half in the cups but harmless, were easy target for the small group of oversized rednecks. Taunted into brawling, the group of 3 soldiers were no match for the 5 rednecks. The one black soldier was apparently the target of a torrent of racial slurs hurled by the hulking antagonists. As Dunn approached the group of brawlers with another bouncer, he noticed the butt of a pistol in one of the attackers' jacket pocket. Shit, I'm gonna have the ass of whoever let that guy in. What started as a shouting match quickly escalated into melee of flying fists. Just as he reached the guy with the gun, the man pulled the weapon on Dunn. Acting on instinct and training, Dunn closed the final foot, cupped his hands over his head, and pushed the weapon up over his head while simultaneously bending his knees slightly. The diverted weapon fired and a loud boom echoed in the enclosed space. Patrons and employees screamed as they ran for the doorways. Dunn wrestled the pistol away from the man and clocked him in the temple with the butt. The man fell to the floor, unconscious. Dunn turned to see 2 of the 3 bloodied soldiers lying on the ground. The third was being dragged to the door by 3 of the massive rednecks. The 2 remaining antagonists turned on Dunn, one with a large buck knife and the other with a pistol matching the one in Dunn's hand. Still calm, but with a pistol aimed at the gun-wielding redneck, Dunn made an attempt to defuse the situation. "All right, boys, you've had your fun. How about you drop your weapons before anyone gets hurt?" Instead of answering Dunn, the largest of the 5 attackers, and apparently the leader of the burly band, yelled to his 3 companions dragging the soldier out, "Bring that nigger over here." Ooh, language again. They did as they were told and brought the black soldier, blood pouring from his broken nose, to their leader. As the small group corralled, the remaining club security crew waited anxiously on the sidelines looking to Dunn for direction. Shit, thought Dunn. How am I going to get these hillbillies out of here? The tough-looking leader grabbed his captive's shoulder with his hand and positioned the victim between himself and Dunn. Then they put the dazed man in a headlock, pressed the pistol to his left temple. "What are you going to do now, tough guy?" The rest of the man's cronies laughed evilly as they watched. Dunn remained calm. "I'll give you one more chance. Put the guy down with all your weapons, and we'll make sure the cops treat you fairly." The leader laughed. "Boy, you have no idea who you're dealing with. Now I'm going to give you 30 seconds to get all the money in a bag and give it to me. If not, your black friend here dies with a couple more of y'all." He waved his gun menacingly at the group of security guards. They could tell by his fierce look of determination that the man wasn't lying. With a clear head, Dunn analyzed the situation. The redneck's last comment told him that the situation had gone from bad to worse. What at first glance it seemed like a normal barroom brawl, had now escalated into an armed robbery. He knew it would take the local police a few more minutes to get there. Meanwhile, the huge hillbilly was counting down. Dunn saw bloodlust in the man's eyes and doubted that many would go unscathed even if they gave in to his demands. To make matters worse, 2 more of the redneck crew had revealed small pistols that had apparently been taped to their lower backs. They all grinned wickedly as if daring someone to make a move. 22, 21, 20. Dunn looked at the club owner, who seemed to barely have the strength to stand. The rest of the employees were quickly gathering cash and wallets to present to the armed robbers. Dunn saw the leader's eyes flicker and a slight grin play across his mouth. The man was actually daring him to act. 12, 11, 10, 9. Dunn took one last glance around the room and analyzed everything: the location of the armed men, the position of the security crew, the strippers cowering behind the stage curtain, the hostess squatting behind the club owner, and the club owner hiding behind the bar. 3, 2. Dunn kept his eye on the man's trigger finger, and just as the man started to say 1, pulled back the trigger, fully intending to shoot the dazed soldier in the head. Dunn reacted on instinct and double-tapped the huge man in the face. Instead of waiting to see the results, he turned slightly left and double-tapped the other 2 armed men. Center mass. Within a split second, the place was pandemonium again. The black soldier was covered in the now dead leader's blood and gazed up blankly at Dunn. The other 2 men whom he'd just shot were now writhing on the ground, surrounded by security and being stripped of their weapons. The only redneck without a gun quickly dropped his knife in horror and threw up his hands. The aftermath of the incident confounded and confused Dunn. Instead of being hailed a hero, Dunn was treated like a criminal. With 2 men dead and another 2 in the hospital, the local authorities had no choice but to fully investigate the situation. Despite eyewitness accounts of all the club employees, the authorities could not prove that Dunn was justified in killing the man. He still remembered asking the police about it in the following days. "Would it have been better if I'd let the guy shoot the man in the head before I shot him?" he'd asked. The system was suddenly against him, and the interrogator said as much. The police officer told Dunn that if that had been the case, they wouldn't be having this conversation. "Look, kid, we don't make up the rules, but the law's pretty clear. If this thing goes to court, they can paint you into a cold-blooded killer. I already heard that the leader of those redneck boys came from some rich family. They're pretty connected around here and already raising holy hell to get you the chair." "But these guys were going to kill," Dunn argued. "I could see it in their eyes." "I hear what you're saying, kid, but I don't make the laws," the detective repeated. That same police station was where Todd Dunn first met the CEO of SSI. Travis was in Fort Bragg visiting some contacts and got a whiff of the incident through friends in the Ranger Battalion. After making a few inquiries, Travis decided to intervene. He made the visit under the guise of an attorney to gauge Dunn's personality. He walked out of the station knowing he'd just found a diamond in the rough. Days later, Dunn found himself in a private jet being swept up to some campus in Charlottesville, Virginia. Apparently, this company, SSI, had pulled a few strings and he'd been honorably discharged, and all charges had been dropped. As he stepped off the plane in Charlottesville, he was met by Travis, now in his casual SSI clothing, outdoor gear, and hiking boots. Travis had apologized for the ruse in the police station and went on to explain what SSI was and find out whether Dunn might be looking for a new job. After coming to the realization that his career in the Army was over, Dunn was quietly overjoyed at the opportunity. One final piece finalized the deal, and Dunn's undying loyalty to SSI and Travis Hayden. Not only did SSI welcome Dunn into their family, Travis also made sure that Dunn's father's hospital bills were paid off completely, and that he received follow-up care from the top cancer specialists in the world. 8 years later, the old man was still in remission, and Todd Dunn was enjoying his 8th year as head of security for SSI. So there you go. That was Todd Dunn's chapter, and we will move on to the next.